Hey comrades, what's up? We're here to follow up with our Police Quest journey. We're now on Police Quest 2. The video for Police Quest 1 was a couple weeks ago if you want to check that out. This one, so the Police Quest 1 version I played was built on a separate, so it came out, and then the version I played was like the remaster or whatever that came out on I think originally it was EGA, and then they redid it in VGA, more like Police Quest 3. While Police Quest 2 is still on the old, like, I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's like a text parser, I want to say, where all the commands are like you have to type it out. And I actually find this delightful. I like the text. I like being able to just like type out commands like go to door, open door, check door, stuff like that. It's pretty fun. So that was like a nostalgic ride for this one. So the graphics are a little worse, as you'll see if you watch both these videos, but the story still holds up and it's still pretty good. And we follow up with Sonny Bond, our policeman. A year has passed since the previous game, and our boy, Sonny Bonds, has been promoted to be a homicide detective. So we head into the police station first thing, as we usually do. We grab all our stuff and we head to the homicide department. There we talk to our partner, Barnes, I think is his name, about the Death Angel from Police Quest 1, and how the guy that we arrested in Police Quest 1, who almost killed us, that we ended up saving his life, is going up for a retrial. At our desk, we find a subpoena for the retrial, so we have to go in and like testify to be like, does he deserve a retrial? Does he need to go to jail? And then at our desk is a letter from Marie, which is our like prostitute girlfriend. So yeah, boy. From what I remember, she is no longer like a prostitute. She's working at like a store or something. Anyway, we check out the computer after talking to the captain about the homicide, about the Angel of Death and whatnot. We find that our old friend from Narcotics is being investigated. Also, our old partner, Laura, we find out that from the computer information that she was the gremlin who was doing all the chicken tricks on that sergeant, whatever his name was. So that's pretty funny. We then head over to the shooting range, and this is like a terrible part about this game is that you got to go zero in your pistol like periodically, or when you get to certain parts of the game and you have to shoot someone, you will miss and you will die. So this like mini game, it's not that the mini game's bad per se, but it's like you're actually sighting a pistol. And if you've never shot before and done like zeroing and stuff, it's like you go, you get your gun, you have like a piece of paper with like a body image or whatever, and you fire at it like 3 or 4 times. And then you look at it and you're like, okay, am I hitting within like a circle? I am. Good. So that means I can still shoot correctly. And then if you are, where am I hitting? So if I'm aiming at the chest, am I hitting in the head? Am I hitting over here or there? And then you make adjustments to the pistol or the rifle or whatever the vehicle of destruction that you're organizing with, and then you do it again. And sometimes it can take like 2 or 3 tries because it's some of it's like guesstimation about like where exactly. I mean, if you're like really good, you should only take like 1 try, but like for most jabronis, it's going to take a few tries to get this thing kind of fucking figured out. So in this game, it also takes a few tries, so you got to like make adjustments, fire again, make more adjustments, fire again, and finally it's like, all right, you're good. And it's like, god damn, dude. And then as part of the tediousness that is the Police Quest charm, you also have to like ask for ear protection. Then you have to go inside like the shooting range, put the ear protection on, load your pistol, fire the pistol. Like, you don't have to put it on safety, thank God. It's like what you should do in a range, but it's like one less thing we gotta fucking do. And then you gotta like bring the target up, you gotta look at the target, you gotta make adjustments on like the pistol, and then you gotta like change out the fucking target, and then you gotta send it back. Yep, those are all commands you have to give. Thank goodness you can just type it out, so if you're fast typing like me, it's like it goes pretty smoothly. But after we do that, and then when you leave, you gotta like hand the ear protection back so you can get all your points. Anyway, so then we head back to homicide, and we find out that Barnes, I think his name's Baines. I must be fucking up names. Anyway, the Angel of Death, that instead of going to his retrial, he like escaped from prison by taking a hostage and whatnot. And so Keith is the partner. Okay, that's right. Keith is the partner. So Keith and I are on it, and Bonds are on it. So we go and we do some more like police work at the office before we go track this down. We get a mug shot, and then we head over with Keith to jail. And inside we check. And in this game, unlike the first game, we were like we had a partner, but like she was like not really around that much. In this game, Keith goes with us everywhere. Like, he's constantly involved in what's going on. So we head to the jail. Inside, we check. We do the usual. We check our gun in and all that stuff. Get buzzed in. The officer there tells us that the guy who got grabbed to be like a hostage, he was like a rookie, and that it's like, oh, it's like his first day on the job, and this poor guy or whatever. And then we ask about any prisoners that saw what was going on and whatnot, and there was. So then we check on them. And then we check on their, I know it's a lot of checking. So then we ask them for like the information on Baines there, and get that information from him. And we match like the pictures and see that they're slightly different or whatnot. As we're leaving, we get a call from dispatch. They found the plates of the vehicle of the police car that was stolen at the mall. So we head there and we find some fingerprints in the car. And we also meet a woman whose car was stolen. And it's probably Baines's. He probably stole it. So we call it in and we head over to Cotton Cove, as there's a jogger there who reported some blood or something or whatever. So we look around and we get into a shootout with Baines, who flees the scene, right? So as we're trying to figure out what's going on, there is something suspicious that this motherfucker was there. So we pursue him, but then we lose, and then we get in the car and like drive after him, but then we get told to head back over to the crime scene. So once we're there, we, very pedantically gather a bunch of evidence, and it looks like some stuff got tossed in the river. So Keith suggests that we call in a dive team, which we do. At that point, we meet Moore. Moore is the dive team guy, but normally with the dive team, you got to go with two. And for some reason, this motherfucker just shows up by himself, and he's like, "Yep, I can't go in the water to search anything because I need a partner." And I'm like, "Then why the fuck do you even come?" So he asks. We started talking about that a little bit. Then he asked if we're scuba certified, because if we are, apparently we can go in with him. And we're like, yeah, you bet. And it's like, cool, go in the van, and there's some shit you can change into. So we got to go in there, and we got to choose the right equipment, and then we got to like make sure we grab a full tank so we don't fucking die in the water. All this is super important, right? It's a point-and-click adventure game from like the 1980s and 70s. So we do that, and then we head in the water, and even with like a full tank, we have a limited amount of time, and there's several things we want to try to find. So we try to find a badge for the rookie that was kidnapped. We find a knife that was used, and then we find, I think his name's Peter or something. Anyway, the police officer, we find his body. So then Moore helps us pull it out. We get a call from the coroner, and so we head over there. Let's see, we get a call. Oh, no, then we call in a coroner to come get the body. That's right. And at that point, we head to the airport to see if our friend, the Angel of Death, has like taken off or anything. And when we get there, we find the black sedan that he was driving. And so it's like, okay, he clearly came here. And so then we get our little kit out of the car, and we get the VIN number, and then we dust for some prints. After calling it in, it's time to head inside the terminal and see what we can find out there. So we head into the bathroom, and we find a gun in the toilet. And so we use a hand dryer to dry it off. And then we get over to the rental car area. We find out that that our boy Pate, the police officer, someone pretending to be the police officer, rented a car. And then we go over the ticket for to buy a ticket, and we find out that he also bought a ticket for Houston, and that flight to Houston that he bought a ticket for has already left. So that's interesting. Why would he rent a car and do this other thing? But apparently he did. So then we call the rental car information in just in case, as well as call in like the gun information so it can be looked at by evidence, or they can look stuff up and find out. At that point, we head back over to the station. We call our girlfriend Marie, or Barry, and make a date. Awesome. Then we drop all the evidence off that we've collected, and we head to Arnie's to meet up with her. And we have a cute little date where we like give smooches and talk about we love each other. She mentions being worried about us. We give her a rose that we bought earlier at the, I think it was at the airport. And we get some more smooches, we eat a bit, and then we head out. The next day, we are told that there was a homicide at this warehouse. So we head over there, and we find Gillespie, yeah, that's right, who's a police officer who keeps showing up and being like a very exaggerated Italian stereotype. Racismos. I don't give a fuck. It was pretty funny, though. I was like, God damn, this is awful. It's like, hey, it's me, Giuseppe, how you doing? It's like, goddamn game. Anyway, it's pretty funny. I laughed a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, Oh, okay. So then we find a car, and there's a body inside the trunk of the car, and it's the guy who testified against Baines last year. So he's got like his kill list that he's going through. The coroner then shows up, takes the body, and leaves. And then underneath the body is a note in the trunk, and it's threatening us specifically, like Sonny Bonds, with death. So we head to the address that was on the slip of paper on the dead guy, because there was like a little address on like a thing, and we find that it's a motel. We talked to the owner to find out that Baines was here, and all the time we were like checking to see if Baines was here or see whatever. We used the picture we got from the jail, and that he was in room 108. So at this point, it's a good idea. We call backup, we get a warrant and whatnot, and then once we're ready to go, we like have we like kick the door in and step aside because a fucking shotgun blast like blasts the door. It would have fucking killed us otherwise. So Sonny like barely dodges that shit. And then the SWAT or whoever is like backing us up blows like gas in there and whatnot to kind of clear the whole thing out. So we head inside. No one's there. It was like a little trapsy. Like you open the door and the shotgun goes off or whatever, like in the old timey movies from like the 80s and 70s. Once it there, we find a business card with some blood on it, and then some lipstick, and it's the same lipstick that Marie uses. And this is like excellent writing because we find out about her lipstick from like the night we went on a date. She like talks about buying it recently and like all this stuff, and so it's like, oh shit, it's that lipstick she was just talking about. And so we figure that this is a trap specifically for us. So we're like, oh, fuck. And Keith is like, oh, brother, we better go check on Marie. And so we race over there to check on her. And we find out that she's been kidnapped. And in her home, it's all kind of messed up and whatnot. And there's a slip of paper. And on the slip of paper is the hit list, finally. It has us and Marie and like the other guy who got killed and whatnot. So we take it back to the station to turn it in for evidence. And then we talked to burglary about the shotgun to see if it was stolen or see what it possessed to and whatnot. And yep, it was stolen. And that it was stolen by Baines, apparently. So then we call Kobe because he's another guy who was like on the list. And he's he's like a criminal, and he's like, oh no, I'm in witness protection and no one's going to get me. I'm over at this like other city in Steelton, which is probably by Houston or whatever. So we call, and then he like hangs up on us. And so then we call the police department over there, and we asked to get a wiretap on the like where Kobe's at, in case anyone like calls or whatever. And then we head over to the airport because us and Keith, we're going to fly over to Stilton to track this guy down, which is like not how the legal system works at all. You can't just like go to a totally different jurisdiction for absolutely no fucking reason. I mean, they have reason, but it's like you're just like a city cop, man. Anyway, it gets good right here because immediately we're on the plane, we're chilling, and then dun dun dun, terrorists hijack the plane because they're gonna blow it up. So we have to like whip out our guns, which we like snuck onto the plane, shoot the terrorists, and then we gotta go to like the bathroom where there's a bomb, and then we gotta do like a bomb like a mini game where we gotta deactivate the bomb. And once we take care of all that, we come out and the Sky Marshal's like, hey, thanks so much, you did a great job. We're like, yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna fly you over to the Stilton Police Department. So we helicopter over there so we don't have to like travel or anything. They tell us that they got the wire, and then they got a conversation between Kobe and Baines, and it mentions Burke Park. But then when they went there, they didn't find anything. And that, when they went to go check out Kobe after this point, that they found him dead and shot in the head. So time to head over to Burke Park. And while we're over there, we get accosted by like a random mugger. But before the mugger can get to us, we call in Keith, and Keith comes busts in and like with a gun and like arrests him, which is great. Then we search around some more, and we need the mugger to come so we can get Keith out of here. Because again, Keith is like following us around like a puppy because he's our partner and he should be with us at all times. But we need some excuse to get Keith out of there so that the stakes can be raised. So good enough, he arrests somebody in like not his jurisdiction, and then he goes to call it in with the actual police department. And while he's gone, we find like a sewer grate in the ground in the park. We're like, all right, well, let's go check this out, because there's some like dirt around it, and it clearly has been moved recently. So we head into the worst part of the game because we got to do like essentially a moving puzzle, and it's like this old timey point and click adventure game with like a text parser. And so like sometimes you'll just like click on a spot, and your homie Sonny will just like walk off the edge and die in like. And then there's like some rooms where you have to be like wearing a gas mask, or you're gonna move with like a quickness, or you like absorb all like the methane gas and die. And I died a whole bunch here. It was super annoying. Eventually, we find Marie in a room, and we go to rescue her, and she talks about Baines kidnapped her, and that he's around here somewhere and tied him up, and that he really wants to kill both of us and whatnot. And then we hear him coming, and so she pretends to like have her hands still tied up behind her back, and then we hide behind like a pipe. And as soon as he walks in, we shoot the shit out of him. And everyone's like, hooray, you killed that dumb motherfucker. in like a totally different part of the country. We don't have jurisdiction. Oh, Lord. So then we all fly back together, Keith and Marie and us, and Sunny. And we get there, and then like, hey, we're going to review all this shit, the shooting and whatnot. Even though, like, why would they review it? This is not their jurisdiction, but whatever. So, but we get like a paid leave for that for a while. So what are we going to do with our paid leave? While we're on leave, they do the procedure and they find us innocent. So that, then we get awarded a silver commendation for a job well done and taking care of that asshole. And it's like, all right, now that I'm off like paid leave, it's time to go on paid leave again. Because we're going to go on a vacation with Marie. And everyone's super happy. The captain of like the homicide squad or whatever is like, I'm so pleased with the whole way this is going to happen. And then we get like a fun little old school ending cutscene where everyone's like saying goodbye, getting on the plane and whatnot. And then while we're on the plane, we like turn around to Marie. We're going to like Puerto Rico or somewhere in the Caribbean, I think. We're like, or Hawaii. No, I think we're going to Hawaii. Yeah. We turn around and we propose to Marie, and she says yes. And it's like, yay, we're gonna be married. I finally married my high school sweetheart who turned into a prostitute, who I got to not be a prostitute anymore. And I won all these awards, and I'm like doing great. I'm like gonna be a sergeant in the next game, and it's gonna be awesome. And that wraps up Police Quest 2. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was quick, and but it was good. And the story, as little as there is in this, like there's a lot more of like a story going on in the first game. I imagine in the original first game there's less so. Just because of the nature of the games that are made in that era, there's, they were just like, all right, time to have an adventure, and here's some like very minimal amount of story. But there was, and it was fun, and I enjoyed again doing all the police stuff. I didn't mention all the times you end up going back to the range to like re-zero like 3 times, or I think it's 3 times total. So that was kind of annoying, but yeah, it's all right. So yeah, there you go. That's Police Quest 2. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.